We're here to say something good about God, and we're trying to do this through this whole process. Some of you are just now joining us live, and it takes a few seconds for this thing to kind of get connected, and I'm not the expert on it, but we're live today as we are every day, Monday through Saturday, 9 o'clock. Say something good about God. We're live on Facebook, and we're live on YouTube. You can find us either place. We even have a Vimeo account. That may or may not interest you, but that's good high-def quality. And we're able to do this because people are praying, and we're trying to encourage one another. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for joining with us today. I can't always see your comments until after the fact because I'm not having the ability to do that. It's not popping up on my screen here like it normally does. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you for joining with us. Please, I ask you to put a comment down there. That does encourage us. We do go back and look. We have some prayer requests that we want to mention today that you put on there yesterday. And so please put a comment. Let me know where you are, who you are, that type of thing. It'll show me that. But that kind of encourages us, and maybe it might even encourage somebody else. And some of you are even sharing this. And we're getting a lot of good reports about people watching and people being encouraged. And we're trying to pray for one another. And so, share it on your page if you will. Let folks know about it. We have our services live as the normal service schedules are, but we also meet here every day, 9 o'clock, Monday through Saturday. And I want to thank you for joining with us. So thank you for praying for one another and encouraging one another. Today, my goodness, today is April the 1st. April the 1st. And you know what? Some people call this April Fool's Day, but this thing is no joke. This thing is quite serious, what we're dealing with. And we've all been asked to be wise and to be smart and certainly do what we can to prevent the spreading of the virus. That's why right now our school systems are closed. And that's why our churches are not operating as far as normal schedules. We're doing everything by way of the internet. And this thing is quite serious. Even the governor of South Carolina, McMaster's, yesterday has ordered a lot of other, I guess what they call non-essential businesses to be shut down. And that's affecting a lot of our people. It affects jobs. It affects income. It affects your family. I mean, you've got kids at home. You're trying to keep your business going, or you're trying to keep your life going. And now some of our businesses like this are shut down. It's affecting people who run restaurants or work in restaurants, people who run salons and places where people get their hair cut. All this kind of stuff. I mean, so this thing is no joke, and it's affecting our economy. But all I'm here to do to tell you is there is a God, and God is good, and we're here to say something good about God. Here we are on April the 1st. Let me remind you, I hope you don't think this is corny. This is really legitimate. The Bible says in Psalm 14, "The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God." Well, you can't help but see there's a God. And you might say, where is God in all of this? Well, I see God working in so many wonderful, incredible ways. I think about all of our folks in our church who are connected and working in the medical profession. And we have doctors, and we have nurses, and we have folks who have special skills and abilities. People who are working in the ER, people who are working in maternity and babies being born, and people who are in surgical rooms, and as doctors and as assistants and as PAs and all this. We have a number of, our people are wonderful professional people. And I see God working through you in such an incredible way. You are helping people and you are encouraging people. And I see God working in so many ways. I mean, we see God working in this building next door. This is a modern day miracle. It really is for us, for our church. And I see God working through the gifted people and the skilled people that God has put there. Folks are working over there today. And so many people have been here every day. I mean, it's amazing through this whole process of the virus and all this. The work here has not stopped. The contractor, the subcontractors, people out here painting today, they're doing a tremendous job. People are doing, finishing up the floor and all these things. Folks are over there working on the audio and video equipment, and I appreciate everybody involved. Alan Batchelor, the contractor, and Virgo Gamble, and our folks who are helping lead the project here. Tim Brazel doing a tremendous job. Steve Berenson Tim is helping me do so many things. People are out there even working on some of the landscaping. Even right now, they're getting ready to lay sod on Friday, getting everything prepped for it today and tomorrow. So a lot of things. I don't know what's going to happen. This is a serious business. I kind of meant to give more devotion than more of a devotion than what I did, but I kind of see God working through this whole process. It seems like everything's shut down, but God hasn't stopped. God never sleeps nor slumbers, the Bible said, who says in his heart there is no God. I think God is working nationally. I think God is working locally. I think through this whole process of churches not being able to physically meet together, I think at some level when this is all over with, we're going to have, I really believe we can experience revival. This thing for us began in a revival meeting. We began a revival meeting on Sunday a few weeks ago with Tom Farrell, and we had to stop the meeting. And then, of course, the Lord knew what's best because of Tom Farrell's situation. We're praying for him. But I believe through this whole process, I believe we can experience and can have revival. And we're praying for our pastors, we're praying for our missionaries, we're praying for our evangelists. But I believe when we come back together, whenever that is, I believe we're going to have a greater appreciation for the Lord and for his church. This is the local church. I don't know that we never intended for us to have church this way, but this is the best way we can right now. And so I think at some level, God's working in so many ways. And I believe God's healing people. We're praying for Arvid Soderberg's sister, Linda. God is working on her. And they gave her 24 hours to live a few days ago. And she's making great improvement. And so God is answering prayer. God is, who knows, through this whole process, families can be drawn closer together. We can experience revival. God working in people's marriages, God working in people's individual lives. And, we're finding out new ways that we can do things. We never thought we could possibly accomplish it this way, but now we can because we're being forced into it at some level. God has a purpose. God has a plan. Remember, he's the potter. We're the clay, and he's molding, he's shaping, he's forming, and he's making out of our lives whatever he wants to make out of our lives. And so, yes, God is real. God is good. I love the song, There is a God, and he is real. And in my heart, I know I can feel him. I can't even remember the words. You try this sometime. It's not always easy to do. But I love songs like that, and I want to remind you that God knows who you are. God knows exactly what you're experiencing. People are watching from everywhere. Thank you for your comments. We're praying for people. We're praying. And I'm going to kind of give you an update here in a minute about where we stand as far as our church services are concerned. And kind of give you what our thought process is. We've been asked to pray from Jody and Susan Glover. We've been asked to pray for their cousin Bobby, who has the virus. Or I think maybe, I'm not sure if he was officially diagnosed, but I know he's very sick. And then we've been asked to pray for Alan Rogers. Jennifer Jones asked us to pray for Alan Rogers, who's going through radiation. We've been asked to pray for numerous people. We've been asked to pray by numerous people for Rocky McBride, who's been diagnosed with a brain tumor. So pray for Mr. Rocky, if you would, please. We've been asked to pray for Micah Niederer. We've been praying for this little boy for quite some time on our church prayer list. Well, the cancer has returned, and we've been asked to pray for him. The family is praying for the little boy's Micah's salvation. A little boy, I think he may be 4 or 5 years of age, and so let's pray for Micah. We were able to see very briefly Julian and Sybil Farmer yesterday. They put a video up. We put that up there for them. A message to the Joy class. Thank you, Brother Julian. Thank you, Miss Sybil, for what you're doing. We're continuing to pray for Julian, and he's 4 months into his process. We're continuing to pray for John Sanders. I talked to him on the phone the other day, and we're praying for John. We're praying again for Tom Farrell. He's making great progress. He was texting me yesterday. We're continuing to pray for Brother Kenny Baldwin. And so we'll have a prayer list tonight, and we'll send that out to you available this afternoon at some point. I appreciate Miss Lynn coming in today just to kind of update our prayer list. And we're praying for all of our church staff and our secretaries. We're continuing to pray for John Bancroft in a job situation, if you would. He was out here helping us the other day. We're praying for the Garden City Rescue Mission and Brother Pat Feastel. They had a revival meeting again last night. We've been asked to pray for Miss Jean Dickens. We miss you, Miss Jean. We love you. Praying for your help. Praying for all the folks in the medical profession, all the folks in our military. Who knows where this is going to take us? And I appreciate those folks like Gray Adams and Walter Yoho and different ones who are protecting our nation. Praying for our pastors, missionaries, evangelists. I mentioned that. Arvid Soderberg's sister, Linda. So a lot of things. We'll have an updated prayer list today. And we'll get that out there to you. We'll have our prayer service tonight, our Bible study in Psalm 140, Lord willing, tonight. I want you to participate in the Bible service with us. I want you to participate in the service tonight at 7 o'clock. And we're considering things. I want to remind the children, by the way. I want to remind the children, my wife, Miss Amy, put a challenge out there, a Bible challenge to the children. She had the Bible story last Sunday, and you kids have been asked to kind of reenact that by way of video or by way of a photograph with some of the elements in it, and or maybe some kind of craft or artwork, and you get that accomplished and post it or send it however you're supposed to do it. Go to the Kids Lakeside page, Lakeside Kids page. The information is there. I can't wait for Sunday. I appreciate my wife, Miss Amy, telling Bible stories to the children, and I'm excited about it myself. We'll do it again this, Lord willing, this coming Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, 10:15. Brother Tim will be doing another adult Bible lesson for all of us, and then about 10:30, 10:35, we're moving right into the service, and so that's the best we know how. Now, can I just talk to you for a minute? This is for our church family. Now, maybe this might apply to other churches, and there's a lot of churches doing a lot of different things. I know churches are having drive-in services, and I understand all of that. And, out in the parking lot, staying in the cars. I get that. And we're kind of, be quite honest, Pastor Tad, have you thought about it yet? Yes, we've thought about that. And we've talked about that. And let me kind of just tell you where we're at. And this is to our church family. And thank you for watching. And again, some of you are continuing to put comments on there. Maybe feel free to share this. But I want to talk to the Lakeside church family, folks who call this their home. And we are honored to have hundreds of you that call Lakeside our church home. And that's why we're trying the best we can to kind of keep in contact with you. We don't want to lose fellowship and lose contact, lose communication. And that's why we're trying to do this every day. We're trying to do our best. And I appreciate all of our staff. They're reaching out to the children and to the teenagers and to the adults and the Joy class. And we're trying to do what we can since we can't meet, just to stay in contact. But let's talk about the upcoming church services. You do know that in about a week and a half, Easter is scheduled. Easter Sunday morning. Can you imagine us not being together for Easter Sunday morning? And yet, every day the news is, we've got to be careful. We've got to be careful. And people are talking now about all these precautions in place until the end of April. Here we are on the 1st of April. And, and I want to make something clear. Lakeside Baptist Church is not having services at the present moment. And it's not because of the government. And it's not because we're being forced to. All right? The decisions we're making here is not because we're being forced and not because we're, cowering in fear and we're being told what to do. Make sure you understand this. I'm the pastor of Lakeside. I'm honored to be here as the pastor. No one has told me as the pastor or our church that we can't meet. No one has said, Pastor Tad, we got to shut you down. We're being forced to tell you that you absolutely cannot meet. The reason we're not meeting together physically at this moment is not because we're being forced to, or because we're being mandated to, or I've got some authority, threatening to arrest me if we have services and I'm scared to get arrested. It has nothing to do with that. There's been some recommendations, and we're trying to listen to that, and we're trying to be wise. You do realize we minister to vulnerable people. We minister to vulnerable people, and people that we love, people who are susceptible to get this virus, and it's out there, and it's spreading. Just a few weeks ago, I'm here telling you that, I don't know how serious it is, and maybe it's overblown. And I'm the first to admit that maybe not knowing all the information, not understanding, maybe we didn't quite know how serious it is. But every day we're increasingly more aware of how serious this is. We don't want anybody to get sick. Nobody has physically forced us by an order not to have church. We're just simply trying to be wise. And we're ministering to vulnerable people. We're ministering to people that we love. And if I say Sunday morning, bless God, I'm going to defy authority, and nobody's told me I can't, so we're going to have church together, you would be looking at an unwise pastor. And I don't want to be that way, because out of obligation and out of, in some sense, sadly, out of guilt, some people would come here and we could help promote this virus and spread this virus, and then people that are vulnerable, people, and all of us at some level are vulnerable, and people that we love would get sick, and sadly some of them could get very sick, and we don't want that to happen. We've seen cases of that, have we not? Have we not seen cases of that already, where churches have met together? Even funerals have taken place. I heard about one over in Georgia. A funeral happened, and people got sick out of that funeral. People have had services, and people have gotten sick. Sadly, people have died because they've come to church. Now, I know at some level we're all going to die. We know that. But let's not be foolish. We're trying to be wise. And so there's the reasons for that. All right, so Pastor, all right, can we meet together? Can we come to the parking lot? Can we have a parking lot church? Well, we've looked at that. And I'm not suggesting right now that we absolutely will not. I've kind of floated that out there. I'm kind of putting some feelers out there. And I've thought about that. Now, we have some unique circumstances here. Let's put some pros and cons. Y'all gonna stay with me for a minute? I'm just talking, all right? I'm just talking to you out of my heart. Because this thing bothers me. It really bothers me. And here I am, I'm trying to be proactive, and I'm a half glass full kind of person. I'm trying to be positive, and we are. And we believe God's in charge. We're trying to say something good about God. God has a purpose and plan through this whole process, but we're dealing with this on the human level and on the personal level, on the physical level. All right, let's look at some pros and cons about whether we have a parking lot church, an outdoor church. Let's look at the pros. Would be we would be together. That'd be a positive thing. We'd be together, all right? And we'd be here. You know, we've been having church where most people are at home. We'd be here. We'd be together. We'd be here. We'd be face to face, and we'd see each other's smiles. And I would love that. I would love that. That'd be a positive thing. But in reality, let's think about the cons. I'm not trying to be negative, because if you know me well, you know I am not a negative person. I believe it can be done. But we have to face reality, and we have to be honest, and we have to be wise. The cons are, we would be together, but we really wouldn't be together. We really wouldn't be together. We'd be in our cars. You'd be sitting in your cars. You'd have your kids, perhaps. You got kids. You have your kids in the back seat. Now, can you imagine coming out here sitting in the park? We have a large park. We got parking lots almost 360 degrees around our building. And where are we going to go? If everybody decides to come, people would come. I believe people would come. I believe you'd come. I believe we'd have some people who wouldn't come. I understand that, and I would respect that. But if we had people come and they sat in the cars in the parking lots, we've got parking lots all over the place. We'd have to pick some place where we could all see. And then I thought about putting up a tent. I thought about doing it from the picnic pavilion and having the cars out in the grass field. I don't know. You know, we would have issues of you're trying to hear. You say, well, we'll watch on Facebook. Well, that's fine, but there's about a 15-second delay. If I'm up there speaking or a group is up there singing and you're in your car, you're trying to watch on Facebook, there's about a 15-second delay. That ain't going to make much sense. Well, there are other pastors who I've talked to. They're FM transmitters, so you can broadcast it out live and you can pick it up on your radio. That's fine. We got cars running, air conditioner. If it's cold, you got heat running. If it's air conditioner, you got hot, you got air conditioner running. You got all these issues, and you got your kids in the back seat. Is that what you're going to do? You're going to come, and you're going to have 2, 3, 4 kids, whatever, in the back seat. And you know, I'm not trying to be silly. I'm trying to think of the logistics of this. Again, distance, sound system, windows up or windows down, watching live on the internet, the delay, all that. And again, we've got vulnerable people. We would be together, but in reality, we're not together. We'd actually be waving at people from one car to another. And so I'm wondering, with what we have going on right now, is it not best? Is it not best that we just continue to do what we're doing with our services? We can have the choir sing even by video. We have preaching going on. We have teaching going on. We've got things going on for children. We're trying to, on a daily basis, put things online so you can have access to communication and ministry. And now I will tell you this. I just think right now, I will say this. I think right now probably I've decided, maybe not parking lot service. Maybe a parking lot service may not be the best method of our ministry right now. Okay? We would have to move outside, obviously, for ministry, and you're in cars, and so our live technical equipment for live Facebook, at some level, we would either have to try to move it outside, or we would have to go with some kind of substandard system of live by just simply using a phone, was what we're doing now. And I just don't know if that's what we ought to do. I think the way we're doing it right now is about the best we can do it. How long we do it, we'll just have to make that week by week decision. All right? I will tell you on Easter, I may make an exception to that. I think we will have our regular Easter Sunday services by way of Facebook and by way of the internet at the normal time of what we're doing right now at 10 o'clock. But I will tell you this, I'm actually considering, even after having said all of that, I'm actually considering for 30 minutes. If you want to come here at sunrise, I'm considering that. And just kind of come out there in the field, and maybe we'll have a prayer time together and a short little challenge. And again, a safe distance, no handshaking, no hugging, although we want to do it. We want to physically see each other. But I just think on a 3-time-a-week schedule, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, coming together, sitting in cars, trying to make the best of it, is probably just not the best for us, with the exception of maybe Easter Sunday morning. And I'll say more about that. I'm just trying to tell you my thinking. I know I've gone on and on, but do you understand the thought process that we're going through? We're not trying to stay apart. We're trying to stay together this way if we can, but if we physically come together in a parking lot with parking lots everywhere and technical issues and air conditioners running in cars and kids in the back seat of cars and elderly people coming here who probably shouldn't be here, but they're coming because they're expected to be here, I just don't know if that's the best thing to do. So we're thinking, there may be other churches, you say, preacher, other churches, I know, they're making decisions. I feel like for our ministry, for our church, this is probably the best decision. I could talk all day long. I miss you, and we love you, and we're praying for one another. We're just trying to say something good about God. We're not down. No. We're not down on God. We're excited about who God is. It's just this is not exciting to not be able to have church for the next few weeks. Grand opening, April the 19th, the Sunday after Easter. More than likely, we're not going to be able to let that happen on that day. We'll probably have to postpone our grand opening. So, you think these are fun decisions? No, they're not fun decisions. But, in reality, when we say the fool has said in his heart there is no God, the opposite is true. The wise person has said in their heart there is a God, and He is real. I can feel Him in my heart. And we're here to say something good about God. We're trying to stay after people. We're trying to minister with all of these hurdles we're having to jump over. But God can help us do it. We love you. We're praying for you. We'll have a prayer list uploaded a little bit later. And thank you for sharing this. Thank you for making your contacts. Thank you for loving on one another. God bless you. Remember, the church is not closed in spite of everything we've said. We're not closed. It's just the buildings. We are the church. We're the people. We're God's family. And so the church moves on, and we'll just deal with what we have to deal with. God bless you. We love you. We'll see you, Lord willing, tonight at 7 o'clock.